Welcome to this week's installment of The Passion of the Digital Artist. And here he is, the Michelangelo of Macintosh, Jeff Mueller.
Thanks, Xavier.
How's it going this week, Jeff?
This week, I'm a little, I normally don't start off this way, you can't tell, but I'm a little bit disappointed.
Why are we disappointed, Jeff?
I am disappointed because I was hoping to have Cape Cod Magic finished and go through the secondary, the second process, part of the process leading up to the finished digital image. And I wasn't able to do that, and it wasn't because I wasn't going through and working my ass off, but what happened was the painting itself and the detail that I was able to achieve in the grass, and when we left from the last video blog, I was starting to work on the grass and the bushes. Well, it's been pretty much 2 weeks of almost every waking possible free moment that I've had has been being stuck into the detail that I put on the grass. And I've previewed the next 4 paintings, and although one has some ocean grass, it's not this type of grass. The bushes and the leaves and all the details, so I should be able to move along on the other paintings. I'm looking forward to getting into boats and water on the next one, opposed to working on bushes and grass. But what I'd like to say is today I was out and about, and it was really strange putting this type of detail. And when you explain, the only way I can explain it is artists, when you're dealing with realism, really becomes an obsessive compulsive behavior where pretty much you go insane. That's the only way I could say it. I was able, as I was working through this, there's a lot of times when I'm working through other paintings that I will defer to less detail because there's enough there. But with this, when I started getting into the detail of the image, it was working almost in a impressionistic dot way, but at a microscopic level. So I was working on the painting at like 400%, painting like an impressionistic painting, but when you go up, it's more like I was painting like with dots for printing when you actually get it. So the realism comes through, but at the same time, when you look at it, and we'll look at this particular painting, when you look at the detail, and this is pretty close to a 100%, but when you get into this detail right here, you could see that you're pretty much painting with blobs of color. But when you take this down, and this is the grassy area with some, as it goes down, you can see that the detail that you're able to achieve and the painting, but the realism that's there, you pretty much get down to individual leaves. And like I said, today if
you go much further, you're going to be down to individual pixels.
Well, I've been working on this grass for so long, and understanding the realism of it that was captured in the photography and then altering it, that when I was out today, I was looking at the leaves on the trees and the grass. We were in a fieldy area, and I was just noticing what I noticed when I was painting. I started paying attention to it, seeing how as you go into distance, things are muted. It really, I could say it opened my eyes a little bit further as an artist and perception. And by nature, I'm a watcher. I love to watch people. I love to watch sunsets. And then in this case, the realism of this and the way that the branches and they sit on the leaves, when you're doing the impressionistic feel, you kind of get a feel for what's happening. So when you're painting it, the leaves are going in the right direction and the flow of the painting is going right. But when you start paying attention to it in real life, that a lot of the assumptions that I was making, I was able to understand it a little bit better. So one of the things was the sun in late August is catching the leaves and the reflections as they move and they shimmer. So I started understanding some of the, not just the natural light source that's happening in this particular painting, but there's some areas where the leaves were shimmering when I took the picture, which then explains the randomness of the highlights. So I started to understand my painting more fully by observing nature today.
Interesting.
So that's where I wanted to go. But if you get to this, I'll just quick show you. I've been working on, and we were talking 30, 40 hours, and seriously, right now I'm probably sitting in the last 2 weeks at about 37 hours, and I'm still not finished. I've got the lighthouse left to go, but you'll be able to see right here that what's left is this little section. But that little section is still about that's about 2 hours worth of painting. And when you get up on it, once again, you can see that pretty much all the areas are filled in. There's no blocky areas. And then you can see as I'm working, I keep going more in, and you can see the areas that I still have to work into. But this gives you a good feel of what's not done, which is a little bit blurry here, still left, and then the focus that I'm able to get in this area where it's no longer blurry. So you can see, and I'm working at this level right here. So you can see each particular area as you're going. It's almost like a painting in itself. But I'm getting there, and next week we'll be able to cover that. Now I'd like to do a shout out to my sister Jill. She sent me for an early birthday present. Next month is my birthday, but she sent me 2 nice new Painterly hats. They're both Guinness hats, so I wanted to thank her for that present. And then as far as what going forward, hopefully next week we'll have what I do as far as once the painting's finished, the certain effects that I add into it, and the color correcting I do, and the playing with depth that I do. I'll be able to demonstrate that next week. So, going forward, this took a little bit longer, and I do have to have all 5 of them finished by October 31st. So lately, I hadn't had to put pressure on myself, even with the social media. It kind of, as it kept going and playing out, I just would work and I'd get in zones, and now this is like having a deadline, and it's been a while since I've strung together the work hours. One of the things, I use a Wacom Corblet tablet with a cordless pen. I'm getting the indent as if I'm writing a novel. That's what happens to your fingers. The hourly, I just keep pushing myself. Now, I was trained as a photographic retoucher by my father in conventional means, using airbrush to be, so that was the ultimate in realism, matching photographs and retouching and having to actually illustrate photographically in order to make it seem like it was actually photographed the way, with whatever we added in, whether it be a person's hand, whether it be anything. It was always, you had to deal with the realism. So I'm used to this type of detailed work, and I really do enjoy it, because once I get into it and the results that I usually get, they're so satisfying, fulfilling, that this is well worth it. So it's bringing back some old memories of when I was working in the graphic industry and the graphic design industry, and putting this kind of detail into those, into a ad or whatnot, or an illustration I was doing for a company. And in this case, this is going into my painting, so I enjoy it a little bit more. So that's where we're at.
Pretty awesome, Jeff. And
we'll video blog next week. I should be finished. We'll do a quick one. Sorry for the delay on the 2 weeks, but I've just been putting all the time into the painting. So we're gonna get there, and I can't wait to keep showing you how it goes, and the step-by-step process of what I'm doing.
It's really fascinating, and I can't wait either.
All right, everybody, Have a good week.
Take care, folks.